It's 7:36 on the Morning Line, and we welcome to the studio Karl Miller Realty, and the host of the Karl Miller Show right here on Saturday mornings on WLNI. Hi, Karl.
Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Brian.
Were you able to not be on your phone for that about 6 minutes, just now?
Probably not. It's interesting, the screen time, and I don't have the iPhone, but there is a setting you can check on the Android to see what your screen time is, and yeah, I probably am on there more than I should be. It's interesting because you talk about habits, and it is definitely a part of American life right now. We're just picking up our phone and touching our phone all the time.
It's completely true. I mean, I remember back before I had a smartphone, when you just had a regular cell phone.
Yeah.
And it just kind of annoyed me because people would call you. And so I would leave it in the studio and go home, or I'd leave it in the car and just, darn, I forgot. No one can get in touch with me. That's too bad. Now I would never leave my phone somewhere. Yeah. I would always go back and get it.
I was an adult for almost a decade without a phone.
Right.
I had the first, I had a car phone, and it was this big old.
Yep, the big box.
Big box, and it was in the sideboard right there.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, it was so fancy. It was like $1 per minute. I don't know, something crazy like that. But it was cutting edge technology. And that's when I was, an adult. So this technology that it's really been around just for the blink of an eye, now we can't live without.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can connect with people all over the world. It's instantly.
And it's good. It's not, you need to learn to, I like this campaign, just kind of making you think about how much you're using it and you're wasting time, that kind of thing. But it really is good technology.
Awareness is good. Awareness is good because it doesn't matter what part of life, if you have something that you can improve on and improve your focus, and there's no doubt about it. These are weapons of mass distraction, as my mentor likes to say.
The distraction,
Well, and we were talking about, and Jack has a good point here. Two-factor authentication makes phone free an impossibility for most people.
That's true.
I mean, that's a good point. I have that on just about everything now, and they send me either a text or it goes to the Authenticator app.
Yeah,
and there you go, and you wouldn't be able to do it otherwise.
It makes it a little challenge. I do. So every time I travel out of town where I just want to focus, I don't take my phone. I leave my phone with the staff, and I have a bat phone, a little covert phone that nobody has a number for except my staff and a few family members and friends, and so. But that's true. Whenever I have to do a two-factor authentication or something, then I'm texting back to the office, hey, I need that code, So it is a challenge, but it's worth it because that way I can go away and focus 100% and not leaving my clients or future clients.
And only the important people can get in touch with you.
Very few people have that number.
I will just note that I texted Karl earlier this week about today, and I got a note back from one of the staff saying, "You are not important enough to be in touch with Karl, so you just shove it, Mister."
So
they were actually very nice.
This is the first time that we've talked to you this year, Karl.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
31
Year.
days in.
Yeah, 31 days. So we're just going to talk about the state of the
market a little bit. Yeah. So recapping 2024, there was just around 2,800 single family homes in Lynchburg and 3 touching counties that sold. So a little over about 239 homes selling per month. And the most surprising factor for me is how much home prices went up in 2024. We were in a high interest rate environment. When that happens, typically prices kind of level out or will even drop. But demand is still high, and the median home price went from right at $275,000 in 2023 up to $295,000 in 2024. So that's a 7.3% median sales price increase. So even in a high interest rate environment, the home prices went up 7.3%.
So let me ask you on that. Some of that is just housing supply. We've talked about that.
Yep.
But how much do the high interest rates play into that? If you have people who think, well, maybe I would move, maybe I would downsize now the kids are out, but I've got a 2.5% or 3% mortgage, and I don't want to have a 6.5% mortgage, and that constrains supply even more.
It constrains supply and also constrains the amount of sales volume that happens. I think these high interest rates have actually kept the sales volume down pretty significantly.
I bet.
Because what we're seeing right now is it's still kind of a needs-based market. Like for somebody to sell a house right now, there's usually a really compelling need. There's death or illness or divorce or a job relocation. Obviously, new construction homes are going to sell. Those builders are motivated to sell those homes. So what we see is that it's people that are moving, and this is a statistic that's really surprising, that 77% of the sellers last year did not have children under age 18 living at home. So what we're finding is the typical seller is older and also wealthier, and obviously wealthier individuals, the interest rates don't affect them if they own their home free and clear and they're buying their next home with cash, right? So we're seeing more cash sales. We're seeing kind of a needs-based market, but I think the opportunities that are out here right now for buyers, especially, is we have a little bit more home choices. There's 520 single-family homes for sale right now in Lynchburg and 3 touching counties, and we haven't been over 500 homes for sale in a while. Now, don't make a mistake. It's still a seller's market. I mean, there's a little over 200 homes selling a month, so we have just over 2 months of housing supply. And anytime you have less than 4 or 5 months of supply, it's still a seller's market. But the good news for buyers is the typical days on market is taking longer to sell a home. It's up to 13 days for the homes that sold. But when you look on the MLS right now, a lot of these homes have been on the market 60, 80 days. So you might even have a little bit of negotiation power as a buyer. You can get a little bit of concessions in your offers, and you're not competing with 15 other offers typically in that first week like did happen in 2021.
So why is that for those homes it takes so long to sell? I mean, are they overpriced? Or
no,
what?
we're just getting more into a more balanced market. I mean, typically it does take about 90 days. I mean, 90 days is kind of the median number that it typically would take or average number, I should say, for a home to sell. In 2019, that was where we were at. We were at 90 days. And so it's not up that long yet, but it is. There's just more supply. The speed of the market is still much higher than it was in 2017 and 2019. But it's not crazy like it was in 2022 before the interest rates rose.
And so, how does Lynchburg, this area, compare to the rest of the country?
I think this is another reason why the home prices have gone up so much in Lynchburg. The U.S. the home prices went up 4.6%. Lynchburg, we almost doubled that. The reason is because our home prices are so far below the national average. The national average home sales price is around the 400, and I need to actually see what the annual is. I kind of follow the quarterly track, but the fourth quarter of 2024, it was over $420,000. So compare $420,000 median sales price for a single-family home to $300,000 in Lynchburg, Virginia, Greater Lynchburg. There's a lot of money flowing to South Central Virginia. Homes are affordable here, and so if somebody's got a home in New Jersey that they bought 25 years ago and maybe paid $400,000 for it, it's now worth $1.2. They're coming down here with a lot of cash, and they see the affordability index of Greater Lynchburg.
They should keep their sorry Yankee asses in New Jersey.
I'm just saying New Jersey. It's happening all. I was just in Salt Lake City. I was out there for a conference, and the median sales price in Salt Lake City for a single family home is $650. But that city has the Olympics coming in 2034, right? And I was up at Park City. I was up at Snowbird, and you're up in those ski resort towns, and you just see how expensive real estate is. And even Salt Lake City, they're expecting the home prices there to go up to over $1 million in the next 10 years, the median sales price, just because that city's growing by 200,000 people a year. We got the Olympics coming,
Holy
it's just a market that has a lot going on. And so you kind of compare that much action and that much, activity and appreciation and unaffordability and come back home to Lynchburg. It's like, wow, we just have it made here, and you got to get out. You got to get out a little bit and understand how hard it is in other markets. But so it's a little bit of perspective. And so I think that Lynchburg is poised for very strong appreciation over the next 5 years. There's no doubt about it. Like, we typically have been 3% a year, and we've been, even in this high interest rate environment, we've been hitting 6 to 9% per year. For the last couple of years after interest rates rose, and when the rates were really low in 2020, 2021, we basically saw double-digit appreciation. So I think for 2025, we're going to see home prices continue to go up, probably 6 to 8%. I don't see any reason why that's going to slow down. And I think volume is going to go up this year, too. I think we'll see about 15% more sales than we did in 2024.
Now, what do you think is going to happen with interest rates? The Fed's already had one swing and decided not to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen the president out saying lower them, and I tend to think the president probably is correct, but I'm not the economic person here.
I'm not. I remain a bit skeptical about the fact that rates are going to drop much on the mortgage level. They might, but I just don't see the economic indicators why they would drop. Sure, it'd be great in our industry. It'd be great to see them go down. We'd see a lot of volume in the housing market if that were to happen, and I would love for it to happen, but I just remain a bit skeptical. Maybe they get down. I mean, it's 6.9% right now. It's kind of and that's such a broad brushstroke. I even hate to throw that number out, but that's kind of the number that's being reported. And you can get lower than that, but you might be at 7.2% too.
And that seems, these days it seems almost usurious, 7%. But that's probably about an average number over the long term.
Yeah, I think if you just looked at a graph of interest rates and let's just go backwards to 2019, when the rates were around 5.5, 5.75, if you would have just taken that time frame and then say, okay, in 2025 the interest rates are 6.7 or whatever, it wouldn't have looked that bad. But it's just because we had that huge trough in between, and so no, it's not untypical. But the difference is that home prices are at all-time highs, so you can buy an all-time high prices and higher than somewhat normal interest rates, and it makes it very painful.
Now, even if interest rates were to come down, is that really going to have that much of an effect on prices of homes? I mean, if all of a sudden there's maybe more people selling, but that's going to have there's still got to be pent up demand out there.
There's no doubt. Oh, there is pent up demand. In fact, there's a huge pent up demand for first time home buyers. In fact, in 2024, only 24% of the sales were to first time home buyers, and that's the lowest number we've seen in a long time. I mean, got to go back probably 40 years. And even just in 2023. First-time buyers made up 32% of the market. So the first-time home buyer market has been kind of priced out of the market. It's very, very discouraging. And we've talked about this on our radio show that 54% of home buyers, got down payment assistance to buy their first house. It's always been hard to buy your first house, but it's really hard today. If you're a median income earner trying to buy a median sales price home in the U.S., you need 2 incomes in your household.
It's almost like we should build a lot of small starter houses for people.
Well, there is
just
that.
Can't make enough money on them. Is that the case?
There's no doubt about it. No, there's a huge demand for affordable housing. I use that word in quotes. But, the builders I work with, we're trying to meet that need. And again, you have to drive outside of town a little bit to get that. But, for example, down in the 24528 zip code just south of Gladys and Brook Neal, we've got lots for sale that are $25,000, and we're building 1,440 to 1,480 square foot homes, and our starting prices are $289. So that's affordable housing. Now, the downside is you drive 25 minutes, 30 minutes home every day if you're working in Lynchburg. But you can get into a house that's very affordable, and it's a brand new, very energy efficient home, and your electric bills are going to be under $100 a month. Woo! So there you go. just drive a little bit.
And always encouraging home ownership to help build wealth.
There's no doubt. And here's the thing: rent rates continue to rise. I mean, I'm not a tenant, but when you look around at the rent rates, when I look at the rent rates, I'm shocked. And man, just with a little bit of sacrifice, you can get into your own house for about that same payment, maybe a little bit more, might even be a little less, especially if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit, maybe a few conveniences, maybe get into a smaller house, or maybe the floor plan's not exactly what you would prefer. But just get into your first house, start building equity as a homeowner. If you're a first-time buyer thinking about buying, just think about it. Your homes will appreciate 6 to 10%, over the next few years per year. And, now you're paying your own mortgage off instead of paying your landlord's mortgage off.
Do it.
Absolutely. It's the best in America right now. It's still the fastest path to a forced savings account. It's the fastest path to strong net worth 20, 30 years down the road. I mean, the typical American who is a homeowner has a net worth of 40 to 45 times more than that of a tenant. And just get out of that cycle of staying in poverty by getting your first home. I mean, it truly is. One of the most beautiful things in America is home ownership is definitely a pathway towards wealth. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. You got a listing for us?
Oh, man, we've got several. I'll mention the new construction. I'll just mention that. So down on Down Creek Estates, which is a subdivision, and I say subdivision loosely, it's basically lots available in a rural area of Campbell County. It's down off of Down Creek Road. We have 3 homes for sale right now, and one of them is a home that's about 1,440 square feet, and it's listed for $289,900. 2.5 acres of land, and you can see the stars at night down there, and it's a good little growing area. There's about I think there's another 15 lots still available, ranging from 23.9 to 28.9 each. So you could build your own house as well. But Nathan and Kendall are building houses down there. We've got some with garages that start at the 320 number, so a 2-car attached garage. So
nice. All right. So what's at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you got going on.
You know what? I literally just got off the plane at midnight last night, so TBD, but it's going to be a good show. I can promise you that. At 10 o'clock tomorrow, we'll probably talk a few statistics. I think Sierra's, I haven't looked at the show notes. She's got a couple of data points pulled together for us, and we'll have a lot of fun on the radio show tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
All right, Karl Miller. The website is karlmillerrealty.com. Karl with a K. Thanks, Karl. We'll talk to you again soon.
You got it. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Mary.